Hello there, rock star. And yes, you are a rock star. Accept that reality. I'm going to continue talking about the power of words, positive words, negative words, how they impact people. It says very clearly in Proverbs 18:21 that the power of life and death is in the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. So realize your words have so much more power than you ever thought possible. We all grew up on that saying, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. When somebody said something to you as a kid, that was your response. Well, we know that is a big, fat lie. One of the worst lies ever told, because sometimes words hurt way more than sticks and stones, because you may have a physical scar. And the physical scar may remind you if that's where you got hit with a rock or a stone or fell off a bike or whatever the case was. But the words, the scars that words leave, they're hidden and they never go away. That's the reality. Well, I was doing some research on this and I found a book called The Hidden Messages in Water by Dr. Masaru Emoto. A Japanese scientist, passed away, I believe, in 2015, but he wanted to see the power of words on the molecular structure of water. So he got some water, put it in a jar, and put words and phrases on one jar and words and phrases on the other jar. Positive words like I love you, thank you, you're amazing, let's do this on the jar. And it would speak those types of positive words to that jar of water for 30 straight days. And in the other jar, you're a fool, you're an idiot, I hate you, you're evil, and say words like that. And put, again, a phrase taped to the outside of the jar. And then he took that water and flash froze it and looked at the crystal formation. Again, do words impact the molecular structure of water? And the positive words that were being spoken into the water left things like crystals, like the most amazing snowflakes you've ever seen under a microscope. And the water that was spoken negatively to, it was horrible, very chaotic, very disorganized. And people criticized it a lot, because he was saying he was a pseudoscientist. They didn't control the variables that well. So he decided to repeat the experiment, but this time with rice. And he put rice in a jar, added water, did the same thing, but he had 3 jars this time. And he said positive things to the water, just like he did, or the water that contained rice, for 30 straight days. And the water and rice combination that he was speaking positively to started to ferment and actually put off a sweet smell. But the water that he was speaking negatively to actually started to mold and turn black. But then the water and the rice that he didn't do anything with, in other words, just completely ignored, was even worse of mold and turning black and literally getting disfigured than the negative words. And what he learned from that, and we can relate to that as people, when somebody's speaking negatively to you, at least they're paying attention to you. And so even though it may be deconstructive words or negative words or harsh words, at least we're getting attention. But to be ignored, especially in this post-COVID reality where people were isolated, they were kept from each other, we were locked down. That's why so many people flock to social media, because they just want to get some kind of attention. So the worst thing is neglect or ignoring somebody or using word or just not even paying attention to them. And it was interesting, in my research, I found that in 2018, the company IKEA, the furniture manufacturing company, did an experiment in the United Arab Emirates on Anti-Bullying Day. And they did an experiment on plants for the entire month. And they took 2 completely identical plants, gave them the same amount of water, the same amount of sunlight, the same amount of nutrition and fertilization, but there was 2 very different things. So they took school kids, and it was an experiment on anti-bullying. And they took one plant and encouraged the kids to bully it. Tell it, you suck, you're ugly, I hate you. And then the other plant, exactly the opposite. You're beautiful, we love you, you're flourishing. And negative thoughts to one plant for 30 consecutive days, and positive thoughts and words to the other plant for 30 consecutive days. The results were astounding. Do a Google search of Dr. Emoto. It's spelled E-M-O-T-O. You'll see all the pictures of the rice and the water crystals that he did and just the power of words. But then also just look up the IKEA UAE bullying experiment and look at the difference in the plants. It's amazing. So the big lie is sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Words will hurt, and they hurt deep, and they can hurt permanently. So let's be more mindful of what we say to people, and more importantly, what we say to ourselves. Because I know this, if I talk to you the way you talk to yourself, you'd hate me. That's the reality. We are our own worst critics, whether it's stretch marks we see in the mirror or we don't like the way we look or whatever the case may be. We are our own worst critic, and we say the harshest things about ourselves. Let's stop that. Let's stop bullying ourselves, because the world is full of enough bullying and name calling and slanderishness and harshness. Let's put a stop to that. We can control our tongue. Let's use our tongue and our mouth to spread love and beauty and encouragement and inspiration and empowerment. That's the power we all have. Let's wield it massively. Have a great weekend. Have a great day. And yes, you are a rock star.